All right, y'all, man. It's your boy Humble League 2 times. You feel me? Back in another video, man. Feel me? Follow the Instagram at Humble League 2 times. Now, look, it's today's topic. We're going to be talking. Also, before we get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Most High in general for everything. I'm also giving a huge shout out to the Most High for giving me these amazing downloads, dropping this amazing good information on me. You feel me? No cap. I'm also giving a huge shout out to everyone and to y'all. Y'all literally take energy out of y'all's day to come rock with me, show me love, support. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all so much more than love always deeply. I'm also giving a huge shout out to myself as well for wanting to receive this good information and give out this good information as well. I'm also sending good positive energy, good positive protection, good positive feeling, and good positive energy towards everyone always deeply. If you want to buy my ebook, you can. It's $10.90. Link is going to be in the description and in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and get more deep into the video. Disclaimer, there are going to be spoilers in this video. So if you have not seen Avatar 3 Fire and Ash, you might want to click off this video now and come back to this later if you would like. Let's go ahead and get more deep into the video. So look, right? Avatar 3 Fire and Ash Spiritually Decoded Part 4. Now let's break this down, right? So I'm good, y'all. Under the weather again. I know, right? But this is the season for it, right? But I'm good, y'all. I'm good, though. Well, look, right? So, let's talk about Kiri, right? The thing is with Kiri is, right? So, the thing is with Kiri, right? See, Kiri is one of the main characters in Avatar, right? Kiri got introduced to us in Avatar 2. Now, why is Kiri such a main character, right? One of the main reasons why Kiri is such a main character is because, one, Jake Sully, Nathidi, they are both one of the main characters, and that's their daughter, right? But the thing is about Kiri, she's a lot different from the rest of the Sully family. Why is she so different? Because Kiri, she is the chosen one. She is the ancient one, literally. See, at the ending of Avatar 1, Nathidi's mother told Jake and Nathidi that Grace is with Awa now. A lot of that went over a lot of people's heads. What does that mean? The thing is that when Nathidi's mother said that Grace is with Awa, she really meant literally with Awa. See, Grace was never pregnant with anybody or nothing like that in the first movie. Obviously, there was no signs at all. But the thing is, when Awa was trying to take Grace's body, take Grace's consciousness and put it into her avatar, instead of it working, it didn't work, but instead it created a seed. So Grace/Awa created Kiri. This is why Kiri is so advanced. This is why in the second movie, Kiri is able to stay underwater a lot longer than the other Sully family. This is why she's able to communicate and connect with Awa on such a deep, higher level. And if you look at Avatar 3, right, the water goddess, she was telling Nathidi, like, yo, how does your half-breed daughter have so much potential and have so much of a deep connection with Awa, and she's had no experience at all? This is just natural talent, natural abilities, natural gifts at such a young age, and she's growing. Kiri's only 14, right? Now, of course, in Avatar 4, and that's coming out in 2029 or something, or whenever, 2029, I think. There's going to be a what? There's going to be a 6-year jump, a gap jump or whatever, 6-year jump, whatever. And Kiri's obviously going to be the narrator of Avatar 4, right? So with Kiri she's obviously a goddess, but she's considered a half god, so she's a demigoddess, right? She obviously is Na'vi, but she is also human as well. If you look at her teeth, she has no fangs at all, has regular human teeth. But, you know, her fingers are obviously different. There's signs and details that tell that she is obviously a half-breed hybrid, right? But she's obviously one of the goddesses. She's one of the gods. She's a hybrid, so she'd be considered a demi-goddess. Still a god, still a goddess, right? Now, with Kiri, she's like the goddaughter of Awa. Why? Because when they was trying to take Grace's consciousness and put it into her other Na'vi avatar, while Grace was on the form of dying and transcending, what happened was, instead of Grace's consciousness going into her Na'vi avatar, instead Grace's genetics and DNA/Awa's energy created a seed and created Kiri. right? This is why Kiri is so connected to Awa at such a young age. Remember, Kiri is only 14. She hasn't even been taught or been really like, she's still experiencing, she's still evolving, right? She's still figuring out more about herself. So how is she so powerful? And in Avatar 3, she clearly defeated one of the main villains in the movie, which is Varang, right? Varang was going around poking people with her thing or whatever. And at the end of the movie of Avatar 3, Varang actually got a taste of her own medicine against Kiri, who her thing or whatever it's called, it literally started to stick up and literally like move, etc., right? Kiri is the ancient daughter of Awa, right? What does this mean? She's kind of like Jesus to like Awa, right? I'm using that as an example. So with Kiri, she was created from Awa, literally. Like when I tell you Awa is her mother, Awa is her mother, literally. Kiri doesn't have a father, right? Kiri is, this is another thing too. In Avatar 3, they talk about photogenesis. I think it's called photogenesis, prothenogenesis, right? If you look at Avatar 3, they talk about prothenogenesis. What is prothenogenesis? Prothenogenesis is where a woman gets pregnant and has a kid without being touched, without having sex. Now, a lot of people do not think this is real, but this is an actual thing. Back in ancient times, a lot of women, a lot of goddesses were having babies and getting pregnant without being touched at all, right? If you look at the story of Jesus and how Mary had Jesus and nobody touched her at all, that is a form of prothenogenesis. This is basically something inside of the woman where she's able to reproduce and make copies and versions of herself without having, in other words, get pregnant without having to have anybody touch her or to have sex with anyone. And they talk, and James Cameron in Avatar 3, they talk a lot about prothenogenesis, right? Because Kiri, she has no father at all. The two people that created her, which is Awa, which is obviously a big goddess, right? And then slash Grace, which is a human being, right? Which is also a woman. Notice how both of these two people are women. So yes, as Grace was transcending and dying, right? Kiri was created through the seed, and her seed was being created through Awa, right? This is why when Natiti's mother said, Grace is with Awa now, she literally meant that. Grace went with Awa, and while Grace went with Awa, right, Awa created the seed of itself. So Kiri is kind of like a physical manifestation form of Awa, literally. This is one of the main reasons why Kiri is able to tap in with Awa so easily and so naturally without any experience, any training. It's just naturally, she flows with the water. She's able to adapt. Remember, Kiri is a forest Navi. She's forest, born and raised in the forest. But notice in Avatar 2, as soon as they get to the water tribe, the Mekaina tribe, right, and they're in the water, she adapts naturally. She adapts quickly. It wasn't much of an uncomfortability for her to adapt. She adapted very nicely. Now, of course, it was very hard for her to adapt, with people, picking on her, whatever, half-breed or whatever. But I'm talking about the natural energy with the animals, with the water. She adapted nicely. She was able to breathe a lot longer compared to a lot of the other Navi compared to the other Jake Sully family who was still getting used to it. Why? Because Kiri is like the chosen one, right? Kiri is slowly but surely becoming the main character of these movies / documentaries, right? We was already seeing some of that main character like energy in Avatar 2, right? And then in Avatar 3, we're seeing a lot more of that main character energy. Kiri literally saved Natiti's life, and not just that, and she also defeated one of the main villains in that movie, which is Varang, right? She literally scared off Varang. Varang literally went running, literally. I'm not making this up, right? And in Avatar 4, as we've already discussed and spoken on, Kiri is literally going to be the narrator, right? So it's looking like things are starting to shift forward more to Kiri. Kiri's looking more like the main character, like I broken down in my other video previously. We talked about how Spider, maybe not yesterday, but not too long ago, recently, we talked about Spider, and Spider is also becoming a really big piece in this movie, even though I do feel like it might get killed off in Avatar 4 or 5, maybe 5. I definitely think something's definitely going to happen to Spider again. He's going to have some type of awakening or something. Something's going to definitely happen to Spider again. He's so much of a risk, right? Etc., right? But with Kiri, she's very connected to Awa in a way that we've never seen with anybody else really like that, besides really like like Nathiri's mother. Nathiri's mother, she's very connected to Awa, but Nathiri's mother, she's also been around for a long time. She's one of the elder goddesses. She's psychic, etc. She's been around for a long time, right? The water goddess, right? She's been around for a minute, right? Even though she transcended in the third movie, she's been around for a while, and she's also psychic as well. But with Kiri, on the other hand, this is somebody who is a hybrid, not even a full Navi, not even a full goddess, and is only 14 years old. So how is she so connected? How is she so deeply rooted? How is she able to stay underwater a lot longer than the rest of the Sully family, etc.? Maybe so. It's because she has a very deep divine connection to Awa, because she somewhat is a manifestation, a physical manifestation of Awa, literally. And at the ending of the third movie, we see a small like side-eye look of Awa. Now let's decode and break this down real quick. I might make a whole separate video breaking it down and decoding it more. That is Awa. Yes, it is Awa, but that's Awa from Kiri's perception. That's not necessarily how Awa looks. Notice how Awa had eyebrows. Navi, the true Navi, like for an example, Nathiri, she's full Navi. She's not a hybrid. She's not half. She's full Navi. She has no type of eyebrows, right? Somebody like Jake, obviously, he's going to have eyebrows because he is a hybrid. He's still a god, but he would be considered a demigod, which is somebody who is a half god, right? In other words, their genetics have been connected to other different things, to other different genetics, right? So with Kiri, right, that is Awa, don't get me wrong, but that's how the way Kiri, that's Kiri's subconscious, that's Kiri's perception of Awa, right? If you look at the first movie, right, if you look at the first Avatar movie, Awa came to Jake, but what form did Awa come into Jake as? These like white insect beings flying and floating around him. That is also Awa. Awa is everything. Awa is all around. Awa is perception. Awa is energy, right? Awa might not necessarily, now of course in Avatar 4 and 5 we might see like who Awa actually looks like, but what we saw in Avatar 3, and we're only at Avatar 3, we're not even at Avatar 4 or 5, we're not even at the last movie yet, so for us to fully see Awa would probably be maybe like in the last movie or something maybe, but that is not how Awa fully looks. That is Awa, don't get me wrong, but that is Kiri's perception, subconscious mind of imagination, in other words, of Awa. So she wasn't imagining things. That was Awa, but it was more so her perception of how she sees and views Awa. Notice how to her Awa had eyebrows, right? But to Jake, when Jake saw Awa, right, Jake didn't see any eyebrows. He had a bunch of white insects floating around him. So it's more so energy / perception based, right? You see what I'm saying? You feel me? But that was Awa in the different format, in the different form, and the different font, right? But yes, Kiri, she's one of the main characters in these movies, and she's slowly but surely becoming the main character in this movie. It seems like maybe so. She's going to be narrating the fourth movie. She's becoming a lot more stronger, and she's starting to have way more control of herself and her power, right? So she's one of the most powerful beings in this whole Avatar universe, if not the strongest. I'm just being honest with you. I love Nathiri, I love Jake, but right now Kiri's probably the most strongest person in Avatar. If not the strongest person in Avatar, she definitely has the potential to be the most strongest person in Avatar. And if she's not the most strongest person in Avatar right now, she is definitely close to it, definitely in the top 5, maybe even in the top 3. She literally defeated the main villain, right? One of the main villains in the movie, right? You know what I'm saying? For real. So, you know, even Nathiri was having problems with, you know, getting her out the way, right? Even though Nathiri, you know, she did a great job, you know what I'm saying? But even she was having problems with, you know what I'm saying, getting her out the way, right? But yeah, though, y'all, I might do some more parts and might do some more decoding on Avatar. And if I do some more parts, I might just like put like exactly which character or characters or which theme or which topic I'm talking about within the Avatar world, instead of just constantly naming it part 2, part 3, part 4. But yes, this is part 4. Like I said before, I do recommend y'all to go watch the movie, all 3 of the movies actually. And yeah, man, I love y'all, man. There's so much more to love. And I catch y'all for on the next one, man. Peace.